go. Some better lighting. So that was just a quick example of what consistency bring you to. It took me almost nearly 2 years to to um to make this routine. As funny as it may sound, why did it take 2 years? 2 years out of all things. 2 years because it took me 2 years because I needed time to formulate, to process what I needed to know. I know that in a song could conclude maybe two or three, four chords to make a chord progression. Two, I also needed to know like what scales, what they fall into. At the same time, trying to figure out how do you make your own content, your own creation, your own melody out of just the fact that you know how to play the guitar. Um, it took me 2 years of trying to 2 to 4 years of trying to figure out what do I need, what do I really need. If all these songs are being, if all these mainstream songs are being made, and all it needs was the simple melody, the simple two note, and it makes a banger of a song. Why am I struggling to make one song? Now, up to this point, I spent a year or two in college. I started when I started in music creation. I started sampling, me along with my friend, and they know who they are. We started sampling, and then on top of the sample that we had picked, we would layer down some drums, but later on we would run into a wall where once if we wanted to pick up an instrument, how do we add that to our creation? Now I think we ran over that wall by this point because every single one of us have figured out how to use our notes, our chords, formulate our own chord progression, and as time passes, you will get better. Now, in the beginning stages, and even to this point, I feel this way, even to this day, where I feel as if I'm not making no progression at all. And sometimes you would think that just because you see no results today, no results tomorrow, you would think you would have to quit. Don't quit. As a matter of fact, using this is more like knowing how to go at life, where you at a job but you feel as if you're not getting at nowhere. You at a location, you feel as if you're not. There's no place, there's no living. Your quality of life could be better at somewhere else. Sometimes this even humbles me. Be still and know that God is God. Moving around serves me no purpose. So me being still and being consistent now with the chords that I'm learning, there's 12 chords, a major and a minor, and many other kinds of chords, and I had to sit down and pick. Okay, we need to sit down and start strumming, no matter where we at, because one way or another, this will serve me some purpose, even if it doesn't help me now in music creation, which it does now help me in music creation. You had to sit down and see a vision. I saw a vision that if I had picked up the guitar, one way or another, I will find a way to formulate and put that into my music. It took me a minute because it started with my mindset. If you can start with your mindset, change it. Be consistent. If if you could be more consistent, even if you could be more consistent than me, maybe you can come further even than I have myself. But be consistent. Be consistent. One, it took me out of a lot of problems. Two, two, um, a seed, a seed sprouting cannot compete with a tree or with a tree already bearing fruit. Um, a seed sprouting cannot compete with a tree that's already bearing fruit. Um, you have to water your plant. Water your plant with consistency. On a day-to-day basis, the plant has to collect sunlight. It has to collect information. Days will turn to months will turn into seasons, a year, 2 years. Time will go by fast, but if you stay consistent, you will see what you're producing. You will see what you're producing. I now come to a point where I know what chords I'm playing, what notes I'm playing. Especially now since I'm trying to make music where I'm gaining 100% all of my royalties, and I'm trying to stay away from the sampling. If I can sample myself, even better. And I think I've come to a point where consistently I've been making tracks. I've been making. Sorry, it's a lot of construction going around here. Where was I at? I've come to a point where I know what I'm playing. Now I've gotten to a point where I can formulate a chord progression as I'm making my tracks. A lot of times that what I used to struggle with is because you're not feeling some type of way on the beat, does that mean you shouldn't jump on the beat? I would say not exactly, because if you can practice makes perfect. Like, I know you've heard this before. If you could just practice writing another line, practice flowing that word, eventually iron will sharpen iron, that the practice of rhyming another rhyme will come easy to you, that you could rhyme another rhyme for another hour, for another 2 hours. Sometimes you need to gain patience, and this is why consistency has to play in, because even when you're not motivated, even when you don't have the patience for it, even when you feel like you can't make another beat, when you can make another beat, anytime is really possible. Anytime is possible. I understand beat block, and we all been through there before, but I've been to a point where even though I was in the beat block, I still made a track, and then that track, I still had to finish that track, which that's why consistency had to come in. I still had to finish the track, even though I didn't feel like finishing it. I didn't feel like it was my hit. I didn't feel like it was my song. But eventually, after I was done with that track, a year later, I come to listen to it. I was like, the drums to that are really overly complicated than what it is, and it sounds simple. And my flow, I really like the flow to it. Why did I not see that I liked the song at the time? And it was all your mindset. I remember at the time, quick story. I remember there was a time where I was consistently making a song day after day, pop, 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 like they were eggs, and and this is why I feel like I would consistently come into beat block, because the more I was making these songs, and yet every time I would make a song, they would come out better. It's like filtering out dirty water. Every time it will come out better. I made one of these songs, and then I didn't feel like writing that song, but because I made a song and it had contained the lyrics like, you could count to 3, I just made this beat. I'ma still do me even after till I'm 23. Yeah, yeah. It sounded catchy. It sounded a little catchy. You can count to 3. I just made this beat. I'ma still do me even after till I'm 23. Yeah, yeah. I made a hook, and I was in the living room with my sister, and she was watching some Netflix at the time, and I said, okay. I remember at the time that I saw a video, and the video said, get in the process of finishing your tracks from start to finish, because if all you do is just start a track and never finish it, then you just never getting nowhere. You don't see process even within yourself. The process of finishing your track, starting and finishing the track almost immediately. That I don't remember where I've heard that from. That was years ago, but I know for a fact I saw a video on YouTube, and their one of their advice was start getting the process of finishing your track from start to finish, finishing your tracks. That one is because that fits into work ethic. When you show up at a studio session, and when you mean business, you know what you're doing. You gotta get in you know what to expect when it comes to making the beat. You know what to expect when it comes to using your own mic, because there's been many times where I don't know what my equipment I don't understand what they're on sometimes, because one day my mic is working and the next it's not. It's like it has a mind of its own. But you guys tell me in the comments what you guys think.